All right, so this is the garden. The goats have done a great job cleaning up all the weeds. We have one more sheep coming. She is a Romanov sheep and she's bred to a Texel ram. And so we're really excited. Romanovs, I hope I'm saying it right. Romanovs? They have litters instead of sets. Instead of twins, they'll have like 4 or 5 babies. And we're really excited to see if that's how it turns out. If that's not how it turns out, then oh well, she's a young ewe, she's in good health, she's bred. We paid more for her than I would have liked to, but not a whole lot more than kind of market value for the kind of mutt sheep that are around here. For a young ewe, you're generally looking about $200. We spent $300 on her and then another $40 to have her bred. And so, yeah, more than I wanted to, but if she does end up having 4 or 5 babies instead of 2, she definitely pays for herself just the first season. Goats will eat brush, they will eat fruit trees, they will eat shade trees, they love bushes. They don't love grass so much. Sheep love grass, and they will eat very evenly. They will literally like mow what it is that they're eating. The other thing is that sheep manure is incredibly good for grass. It's like black gold. Better for grass than rabbit manure, better for grass than goat manure, better for grass than horse or cow manure. So what we do is we contain the goats where they can graze safely away from fruit trees. But with the sheep, we allow them to roam the whole property within our outside perimeter. And while they will nibble on little fruit bushes, we keep them out of our fruit bush area. That's where the geese and the ducks live. And so we have this lovely little system. Goats are in one place, sheep are in the whole property except right around the fruit trees. And then around the fruit trees are the geese and the ducks.
He looks like a little pig. They're not a good looking sheep.
No, they're not. He looks like a little bulldog pig.
But you look at those hams on him.
Yeah, my goodness, how can he even walk?
I don't know.
Looks like
okay,
ginger.
So I've got one older ewe here.
Okay.
A Romanov. And then I've got 2 that this white one and this dark faced one
In the
looking
back.
at us back there that I thought I would keep.
I don't blame you. She's big.
And you can have the choice of
The other white ones?
not her,
White faced?
the white face or either these. And the reason with these smut face, the reason I kept them, their mother is that Suffolk. She has triplets or quadruples
I like
every
Suffolk.
year.
Yeah, I like Suffolk.
And their dad, the sire, is Ile-de-France.
Mm-hmm. So you
And,
still get litters.
and he was a triplet.
Okay.
And so that's what I was breeding for, was the multiple births.
Yeah.
That's why I went to Iowa and got her and those 2 out there.
Yeah.
I paid $400 a piece for
I
them.
bet you did.
And
Well, I
it's
don't
a
blame
long
you on
girth.
that one. That one, that's a nice little ewe.
She's
wide.
She's wide. And she's out of the Ile-de-France.
Uh-huh.
And
Well, all right, this is Sweet Pea. And this is how we transport. We put blankets in the bottom of the car. And she was originally tied, but you don't want to have a sheep laid on their side for more than just a few minutes. They get cast, and it does bad things to their internal organs, and they die. So we got her up. It was a little rough getting her in. We didn't show it because it was all hands on deck. But she got banged up a little bit. He kind of cowboyed her, and didn't want us to try and figure out a different way. And so we have an agreement with him that if she turns out to be damaged or hurt, or if she starts to miscarry, we can bring her back and exchange her, which is sad because we really like her. But we're gonna have Paige get our other sheep and walk her up into the pen so that this one has somewhere to aim when we let her out of the car. She'll just feel a lot more comfortable.
Are you sure how to do grain?
There's our little Heidi. Yeah, and she doesn't know about grain. She doesn't know about people. So Paige is gonna go get her into the pen and open up the gate, and then we will just open the door and let Sweet Pea out. As soon as she's out, I want you to just make yourself into the corner.
Okay. Mom, watch out. Kaya's gonna. Alright.
Stand here, or we're gonna have a sheep out. Just stand here, and the minute that it goes to work, we're gonna close it.
They look almost like each other.
What do you think? You need a sheep friend.
A little smaller.
Okay, do you think you can unclip her?
This one?
Yeah, Heidi needs her rope off for sure. But we also need to get Sweet Pea's off. So, Heidi is 3. Sweet Pea is not quite 1. I don't know if she'll get a whole lot bigger. Okay, Paige, if you want to go take your boots off and get spaghetti started. I don't know if you guys can see the light blue spot on Heidi's butt. That means she got bred. The ram that she was with had a crayon on his chest.
Let it go.
Good job. Okay, out we come. So, this particular ewe was purchased with Patreon money. We have 9 patrons, and every month we make about $30 from Patreon. I'm not very good at it, but we have some very loyal people who give $1 a month. One person that gives $25 a month. And here at the end of the year, we had $280 that came in, and I can go buy this sheep. So for all of you who are Patreons, keep getting it wrong. For all of you who are patrons, you paid for this sheep. I'm thinking of calling her Sweet Pea as in Sweet Patreon, Sweet Patrons, something like that. This new sheep that we're buying is a Romanov, and with their genetics, they breed year-round. But in order for them to be able to breed year-round, you have to have a Romanov ram as well as a Romanov ewe. And the reason for that is that the ram has to be in rut in order to breed the ewes. It doesn't matter if she comes into heat, if the ram is not capable of servicing her because his testosterone levels are low because it's not cold weather and he doesn't have the right hormones in his system. So you have to work on that. I would prefer to have lambs in March rather than in the middle of summer. So we're just breeding them during their normal breeding season. But with Romanovs, you can breed them all year round if you have a ewe and a ram that are Romanovs. And we do need to increase the number of sheep that we have because last year with 2 sheep, we still couldn't keep our, they were in about an acre of scrubland. They still couldn't keep up with the volunteer alfalfa and the grass and all that. They still couldn't quite keep up with it. So if we have 2 moms and a whole gaggle of babies, I'm really hoping we can keep things manured really well and grazed really well. 2 of those babies go to my mom when they're ready to be butchered, and then 1 baby will go to my friend Misty, who traded us 4 pigs. She traded us 4 little baby pigs for 1 sheep, and we're going to raise it up for her until it's ready to not be nursed. And then we'll probably have 2 that we put in the freezer for ourselves. We'll just have to see how everything goes. One thing to worry about when you are moving sheep is that they overheat quickly. They've got, 6, 8 inches of wool on them this time of year. And so when we put the animals in the minivan, we will roll the windows down a crack on all windows so that they do not overheat. And we put down many layers of blankets and plastic in the back of the minivan to soak up any accidents, because when animals are stressed, they do poop and pee a lot. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Once your sheep is pregnant, you do not want to worm her. You want to worm her just before she gets pregnant, and then as soon as she has her babies, you worm her again. But during her pregnancy, you don't want to worm her. We use Molly's Herbal wormer, and she has 2 different types. One is for the wormer that happens once a month, and then she has the, pardon me, and then she has the fitness, kind of like a vitamin one that you give once a week. And the one that is given once a month has things like black walnut and wormwood in it, which can strain your, I try and remember if it's your liver or your kidneys or both. It can put a strain on them. And so if you're pregnant, you don't want to take those. And I think wormwood is actually something that can actually have you early labor, so you can miscarry. We do know that Heidi has a pretty good worm load right now. We wormed her just before she went to get bred, and when she came back, she had a pretty good load of worms. She was there for 2 months, but again, she was pregnant when she came back, so we couldn't worm her. And she has good health. We're keeping lots of food in her. We're giving her this vitamin type mild dewormer once a week, and hopefully she can just kind of stay in good condition until we're able to give her the more wormer. Stressed out. So I have separated a different shelter for the sheep than for the goats. One of the reasons for this is that animals, when a new animal is introduced, can be incredibly rough, very rough and mean. And if she gets hit in the belly too many times, it can make her miscarry. So I'm going to take our one sheep and take our new sheep and put them in a barn separately from the goats. And that way there's not really a pecking order. They can get enough food. Nobody's going to be physically beating up on anybody else. And so we've separated them. I would love to be able to get all the manure out into the garden by itself. But goat minerals. So goat minerals and sheep minerals are different. Sheep cannot have a lot of copper, and there's too much copper in goat minerals, whereas with my goats, they need the extra copper, they need their special vitamins. And so I have vitamins for sheep that are in with the goats now, because our sheep can't be by herself. She needs to be with somebody. But because of that, we're feeding the goats sheep minerals. The sheep minerals won't hurt the goats, they're just not quite as high in copper as they need to be. So by taking Heidi and Sweet Pea and putting them in a different shelter, I can give them their special sheep minerals. One in particular you have to watch for is selenium. If you don't have enough selenium in your vitamins for your animals, they'll have white muscle disease. When the babies are born, they'll have white muscle disease, and it means that they're lethargic, they don't have a lot of energy, they have a hard time nursing, and so you want to make sure that they have enough selenium. Currently the goats and the sheep are up in the garden. I'm having them lay down manure and graze all the weeds, and we will pull them out of there sometime in April, most likely. We'll let them keep the weeds down up until just before we plant. So they'll eat all the new emerging weeds, they'll manure the garden, and then we'll move them back to their actual pasture. And we'll let the sheep out and let them start roaming up and down the road and grazing. So it'll be, let's see, we'll have something like 20 babies up in that front garden, pooping and peeing before we let them go to where they need to go. So I'm really excited to see how that does with the garden. So with the goats up in the front garden, they are being fed hay. We're feeding it to them in a slow chick horse hay feeder, and we're also giving it to them in a panel that I made up and lined with chicken wire so that they can't waste food, and it's made a huge difference. We have a backup plan for the sheep in case something goes wrong and neither one of them have babies. We have our names in at a place that often has bum lambs, and so we have our name down for I think 10 lambs, and that way they know we're serious, that we'll take a lot of lambs, and we would raise those on goat's milk if our sheep turn out not to be pregnant. This year, if Heidi turns out not to be pregnant, we will butcher her. This would be her second go around, her second opportunity to be part of our breeding program. And last year where she didn't take, if she doesn't take this year, she had plenty of time to get bred. We watched her get bred. She has the spots on her butt from the crayon that the ram wears to show who's been bred and who hasn't. So we know exactly the date that she was bred. And she didn't come back into heat after the first time. She didn't end up with 2 spots on her butt. And so if she didn't take, we will butcher her. And we'll probably look for another ewe. Generally, it used to be that you could get a ewe lamb for $150. This year, I'm seeing $240, $275, $300 as more normal. So that's kind of interesting. It's one of the reasons I really like to just get good stock, get established, find somebody that you can breed to, pay the price to breed to them instead of keeping my own ram, and just kind of make sure that I am keeping stock a little bit ahead on buying stock. So minivan works really great for moving sheep because it's fully enclosed. Works great for goats. I really love sheep and goats, and as a kid we had cows, and it was a whole different story. You could get hurt a lot easier by a cow, and their vet bills are astronomical. We just had a lot of problems with our milk cows when I was a kid. Not so much the Angus. The Angus were pretty easy, but I much prefer milk goats and sheep. They're just, for easy everyday handling, you just can't beat them. All right, this is Palomino. She is back from breeding. This is how we transport them. We have quilts and plastic in the back, and then we just hook her to the headrest with a little clip. Keeps her butt turned over the top of the blankets, and we're in the middle of a snowstorm. But it's really nice because today we're above freezing. It has been in the teens. Today it is maybe 30, so it feels like a sauna. them all? What was wrong with them?
So, 12, I did my subtraction wrong, and on the others, the 0 on the end of 15, it made it so I kept on thinking that I had already done 7. So that's what was wrong with that one. And then 16, my multiplication was wrong.
Ah. Okay, have you done your presidents?
Yep.
Done your map?
Mhm.
Done your guitar?